Shalom Akim, Kahalarim La, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rahakudash, double honors to the great Muslim apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Thadi Yahushai for the strength in order to make this video. And Yaratazar, they find it edifying and exhorting. Based on the Latin American history, I did mention in the previous video of the movie El Dorado, where the movie, and of course, this little blog or article, I'll say, which pertains to El Dorado, which really, that El Dorado movie, the animated one by DreamWorks, was really referring to our people, the Aztecs, aka the Mexicans, aka the tribe of Issachar. Because really, if you watch the previous video on the Latin American history series, I believe, which was the part 4, I did mention about what did they call it? Montezuma, yes, Montezuma, the leader of the Aztec Empire. He tried to offer gold to Hernan Cortes, which is one of them Portuguese. Is it Portuguese or Spaniard? No, Spanish. He was Spanish. One of them Spanish explorers, man. So Hernan Cortes, of course, he was enticed by the gold of which Montezuma then offered him as well. But Montezuma, he offered him the gold because of the Aztecs. They had a prophecy of Quetzalcoatl returning again, and he wanted to appease the men of whom just came, because he didn't know if they were related to that prophecy. But anyways, as I said, that's another video. But this, I just wanted to focus on El Dorado, man. So we're going to read this, Yaratazar, get some precepts and play that trailer. Then I'll speak on it. So it says, so this is by Metropolitan Touring. It says, unveiling the mystery of El Dorado, the lost city of gold, which again is based on the Aztecs, based on the Spaniards going to the tribe of Issachar to try and gain their lands and gain their gold. So I'll just read a very, very little of this. Hold on. Yeah, just the beginning, really. So it says, when the Spanish landed in what is now South America, many arrived with the dreams of treasure, wealth, and riches beyond their wildest imaginations. Gold became the focus for so many. Their self-serving aspirations would ultimately lead to exploiting the land and its people with a plunderous and misguided urgency. To this combination of factors add the law and the law of the unknown. What the Spaniards observed when they explored the northern Caribbean coast of what is now Colombia was an intricate trade network developed by the people of this region known as the Terona. The indigenous, which again, there's many tribes within that region of Latin America. So Terona is another one. Indigenous tribes from the coast would trade seashells, salt, and fish for textiles, ceramics, and agricultural products. Example, maize, squash, beans from other tribes located deep within the jungles of what would come to be known as the Sierra Nevada. The tribes from the interior of the continent would sometimes appear adorned in the elaborate dress and gilded jewelry. So Jake was still decked out despite being bugged out. These transactions were enough to pique the outsiders' curiosity about the gold. Where did it come from? Is there more? Could this source of gold be the reward awaiting these bold explorers? European interactions with other indigenous tribes encountered along their expeditions, mainly the Muisca people of the interior highlands near what is now Bogota, would provide more fodder for their suspicions that the fabled city of gold was somewhere to be found, and its exact location would be debated for centuries to follow. Today, the legend continues to inspire, serving as a metaphor for the unattainable and the extraordinary in our quest for discovery. So where is El Dorado located? The exact location of El Dorado, if it even existed, because of course, with the movie, they do exaggerate certain parts. Nevertheless, there is truth behind the comedy. So if it even existed or exists, is disputed across the various sources. But this undiscovered city, kingdom, or empire of gold is believed to have been located somewhere in the Americas, which again is reference to the Aztecs, aka the Mexicans, the tribe of Issachar. All right, so now that I've read that for context, let me get to the trailer now. This movie was made, as you can see on the right side, it says on the year 2000. So the road to El Dorado, of course, we're in 2026. But it still holds true. It still holds true. Again, you go just if you have eyes to see, you then realize, oh, okay, so this is what it means. I remember having this movie specifically on DVD as well, when I was younger too. I watched it, didn't really understand it that much as a child, but when you enter the truth and then you get into the history, especially what I'm doing right now with the tribe of Issachar, you then realize, oh damn, Esau's been mocking us, man. But yeah, I'm gonna get some presets soon, but let's watch this trailer. Then I'll pause it at certain parts after I let it flow through.
The legend of a lost city of gold. And the two men brave enough to find it.
I am Miguel.
And I am Tulio.
And they call us Miguel and Tulio.
7! Your dice are loaded!
I will give you the honor of a quick and painless death. But not with that. I'll bet we can make that. Two pesetas says we can't.
You're on! You lose.
DreamWorks Pictures invites you
Holy shit! Oh no!
to join two friends on an incredible journey.
We'll follow that trail.
What trail? To the magnificent city of gold. El Dorado. Big smile, like you mean it. They actually think we're gods.
Miguel and Tulio, the mighty and powerful gods.
Hello.
Now,
You're going to need my help.
What makes you think we need your help?
Are you serious?
they're bound for excitement,
Who's the guy?
You the guy. Romance and danger. I know you are not gods. You're not a god? That was good, huh? Featuring 6 new songs from Elton John and Tim Rice, the Oscar-winning team from The Lion King. The Road to El Dorado.
But yeah, that's really the point right there. And I don't know if you did watch the other part, part 4 in the Latin American series, you would have known that, yeah, this is definitely referring to the tribe of Issachar. And those 2 blokes in the beginning of the trailer, in fact, I might as well just hold on. Yeah, them 2 right there. He said Miguel and Tulio, which are, I believe, are Spaniard or Spanish names as well. This is pretty much like in a comedic sense, a representative of what Hernan Cortes did, when he was trying to take down the Aztec Empire, infiltrated to try and get their gold. But here they put a twist on where it's like, these lot, they grew a conscience at the end. I'm spoiling the movie, but nevertheless, if you want to watch it, you could watch it on I think it should still be on Netflix. Maybe it's on Netflix, but and if not, if you're in another country, put on a VPN, and you'll be able to switch movies on Netflix, especially on a computer. Anyway, so yeah, this is just like a comedic representation of Hernan Cortes and his men when they came up to invade the Aztec Empire. You know, which we go into last video. I'll probably elaborate some more in another video too. So let me get some precepts. In fact, hold on, let me replay something.
Of gold. And the two men, brave enough to find it.
I am Miguel.
And I am Tulio.
And they call us Miguel and Tulio.
And that act right there of them trying to make themselves bigger than they actually are. You know, Hernan Cortes actually played into that belief of the prophecy of relating to Quetzalcoatl, you know, returning back, you know, which is what the Aztecs believed. So these Edomite Spaniards played into it, specifically Hernan Cortes, in order to try and make Issachar pretty much worship them, or pretty much to be as slaves onto them, and you know, try and manipulate them essentially. All right, so let me get this precept. All right, so it says Psalms 10 and verse 4, starting from verse 4. It says, "The wicked through pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts." Now, of course, you know, these Edomites, you know, they would have, because they actually tried to push Christianity upon Jake when they were in their bugged out mind, of course, not knowing that those were the actual chosen people of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But again, the curses put us in a position where we were ignorant, we had our own false ways, and the Most High just let us pretty much dwell in our ignorance, in our delusions for a while. So it says, "The wicked through the pride of his countenance, his appearance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts." You know, so that's why, you know, they try to, of course, they try to play Jake and just enforce their false belief, or, you know, the false Christianity upon Jake anyways, which again, it was a lose-lose battle, because first of all, Jake was ignorant, and second of all, it was a false way that Esau was teaching them Edomite Spaniards. Verse 5, it says, "His ways are always grievous." And another thing is where it says, "The Most High is not in all his thoughts." You know, they may think that, you know, they're in a righteous state, but, you know, greed eventually got to Hernan Cortes. The same way, I think, just for simplicity's sake, you know, Christopher Columbus as well, greed also got to him because he wanted to keep exploring. However, he needed to still deliver gold to, what's her name? Queen Isabella, I believe, you know, for a certain time period in the 1400s. So anyways, continue on. Psalms 10 and 5, it says, "His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them." And read that in the NLT as well for understanding. So it says, "Yet they succeed in everything they do. They do not see your punishment awaiting them." You see, they sneer at all their enemies. Hence why Esau's puffed up and is prideful, because he thinks that he's hacking judgment right now, but he ain't hacking judgment. He's pretty much on the timer right now, but he doesn't really realize it. Well, previously he didn't realize it, you know, when he was enslaving Jake and whatnot. But now, as the times come by where he's going to reach the pinnacle of his beast system, you know, Revelation 13 verse 16 to 18, with those chip implants. The thing is, after he reaches the pinnacle, then the Most High is gonna slap out that spoon out of his hand, you know, when he's about to fill his belly. Which means after that, he ain't gonna surpass more than the MOTB, that transhumanism agenda, which he pushes through the games, the movies, and pretty much media as well. That's not gonna happen. Verse 6, the limit of what will happen is the MOTB. Again, that chip implant. So Psalms 10 and verse 6, it says, "He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity." That's a prideful statement. How can you say you will never be in a position of difficulty? You will never go through hardship, which is what adversity means. of course, the way Yahweh Shem Shah designed it, you have to go through that hardship, man. Which, of course, yes, Esau's in his Esau was in that phase where it's like he seemed to be untouchable, which is why he's gone prideful. Add that on top of his belief of atheism and not having a belief in Yahweh Shem Shah, of course, he's going to become even more prideful. But nevertheless of that, this prideful statement of his where he's saying, for I shall never be in adversity, that is that's just a sure sign of his upcoming destruction. So verse 7, it says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit. He says his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. You saw the way those two Spaniards, Miguel and Tulio, in El Dorado, they were trying to make themselves as gods, which lasted for a little bit. But one of the Aztecs actually, sussed them out. You're like, what, these guys are tweaking, man. They ain't no gods. As you probably heard in the trailer. In fact, let me read this first and then I'll get back to that part. It says, under his tongue is mischief and vanity, worthlessness. Esau can chat his way to death, man. And that's literally what is going to happen. Let's get back to the video. Alright, this is the key part here. One of the Aztecs, Issachar, sussed out the Spaniards and their bullshit. Let's hear it.
And danger.
I know you are not gods.
You're not a god?
Yep. And then one of them tries to hide it as well. Tulio telling Miguel, you're not a god. They're still trying to flip and hide it. Play that false facade, man. But yeah, this, all this, communing with spirits as well. That's what Jake was into, man. In fact, even in the movie as well, there were this guy here, I forgot his name, but this guy here, one of the, I'm gonna just call him one of those Aztec priests. He was high up there when it comes to tapping into spiritual power, of course, on the left-hand side. And one of the things, as I read before in the part 4, I believe, is they actually committed human sacrifices. Yeah, Jake committed human sacrifices, man. As we mentioned, they were killing they were using the Tlaxcalans, which is another tribe, within that same region of the tribe of Issachar. Some of them may have been Zebulon as well. But yeah, tribe of Issachar, Tlaxcalans, which is another sub-tribe. And, the Aztecs were using them for human sacrifices for their gods. So, again, despite it being a comedy, there's a lot of truth that they've shown here, man. As the saying goes, art imitates life. Alright, so once again, Psalms 10 and verse 7, his mouth is full of cursing, deceit, and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Let's read in the NLT now, New Living Translation on the right side. Their mouths are full of cursing, lies, and threats. Trouble and evil are on the tips of their tongue. Let's get this precept now. Let me read this one. Lamentations 4 and verse 22. It says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. I'll read it in the NLT now. It says, O beautiful Jerusalem, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, as well as you speckled bird out there. You may look like heathens, but you're actually Israelites by blood. It says, your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile, but Edom, your punishment is just beginning. What did the scriptures say again? It says, Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You see, so Esau's kingdom is ending, and of course his punishment is beginning, as we see here. But Edom, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. That timer is running out. That timer is running out. All the atrocities that were committed, it is running out. The payments, The tab's gonna come through, and you're gonna have to pay the bill. Let's get this one and Yaratazar to close it out. Lamentations 2 and 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, Is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? You see, so the reason why I mentioned that as well, because, through these movies, that's the way that Esau uses to mock us. Is that he's just showing it right in our faces, especially the ignorant of our people who are not aware of the history. That, yeah, they really, let's just they really, I'm trying to find a way to put it. I mean, yeah, they destroyed our minds. That's one way of putting it. They destroyed the minds of Israel further. And I did notice something in the trailer. Let me do this, and I'll close it out shortly. And based on that precept there, on the nations clap their hands and they mock us essentially. This is a good moment to represent that or to reflect that.
El Dorado. Big smile, like you mean it.
I believe that big guy there, he represents hold on.
To the magnificent city of gold.
El Dorado. Big smile.
Yeah, I believe he represents Montezuma, because he was the one who, of course, was more inclined in the prophecy of Quetzalcoatl to come back. So he was trying to please, these so-called Spaniard gods. Let's hear him out.
Like you mean it. They actually think we're gods.
You see, they actually think we're gods. So yeah, they're mocking us at our faces, man. It's like if you ain't got the knowledge, you're gonna look like a fool watching the movie. Because I was wondering, man, like, why did my parents buy this movie, for me to watch as a child? And then, when you enter the truth, you then realize, oh, okay, so this is why Yahweh Issachar made me watch this movie. There's truth to it. There's a lot of truth to it.
Miguel and Tulio, the mighty and powerful gods.
Hello.
Now,
You're going to need my help.
What makes
Hold on, let me try to get that exact moment. No, it's not there.
you think we need?
I want to get that character
What makes you think we?
so that I make it clear.
The mighty and powerful gods.
Hello.
now,
You're going
Yeah, this woman here, this Aztec woman, let me not get too technical here, but yeah, this woman here, I believe she represents Donna Marina, which I read again in the previous part. She was like the translator between the Spaniards and the Mayans, I believe. Because what's his name, Geronimo de Aguilar, he was the one who understood Mayan. He translated from Mayan to the Aztec. And no, Donna Marina understood Mayan and Aztec. Yes, and eventually she understood Spanish as well. So I believe that's what she represents. Donna Marina, in the book of whom was engaged or was the wife of Hernan Cortes. So yeah, man, this story is deep. When you really get into the history, it's like, oh, they really showed everything. You just gotta have the eyes to see it. You gotta have the eyes to see it.
to need my help.
What makes you think we need your help?
Are you serious?
And it's true. The Spaniards generally did need Donna Marina's help, man. To translate between the tribes from the Aztecs to Spanish, Spanish to the Aztecs, the Aztec language, which is Nahuatl.
Bound for excitement.
Who's the guy? You the guy.
romance, and danger.
I know you are not gods.
You're not a god.
But anyways, that's it, Akim Yaratazar. You got eyes to see. All you gotta do is just study that history and, pray to Yahweh Shai for the understanding, and then, you'll be able to put two and two together, man. 2 and 2 together to make 4. But anyways, Shalom, Yahweh Shai Brakatha. Small double honested great Muslim apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom.